Let's go now to Craig Laundy, former Minister, former Liberal MP and Minister, and also from Laundy Hotels. They run over 40 venues in this great country. He joins me now. Craig, good to speak to you again. What are your thoughts about this? A group of pubs, 200 no less, telling people what they can and can't celebrate.
Yeah, Chris, nice to talk to you too. Look, I've been asked this question by a few journos today, and I think, irrespective of the business, I think you've seen this over the last couple of years, that if businesses and people that run the businesses come out and make these statements, the public see them for what they are. And the real issue here is around, I'm guessing, what the date is and the day and what it signifies. If you want to change that, run for Parliament and change it. Convince your constituents. It's a national day, and I've said this many times today. We celebrate our Indigenous heritage pretty much 365 days a year. In our schools each day, if you hop on a Qantas plane before the safety briefing, there's an Indigenous flag flying 365 days a year above the Sydney Harbour Bridge, as we should. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with doing it. Fantastic. But, this is a day that is of strong heritage relevance, and it's a gazetted public holiday in each state and territory. And, a pub is a place where you go when you have a day off to be entertained, and that's what we'll be doing in our hotels. Yeah,
and I imagine at your pubs there'd be pretty busy days, right? It's a public holiday. You'd be paying all your staff leave loading, a public holiday loading, and I imagine it'd be very busy. It always is on Australia Day. Perhaps the Australian Venues Company, if they really believe so strongly about this, should shut their pubs on Australia Day.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to tell them how to run their business, but you're right insofar as each public holiday that we get, and we're no different to the days you pointed out there. If there's other occasions that we can market and advertise and promote and use to drive trade, we'll grab them with both hands. Yeah. And the other point, Chris, I've made today a couple of times, I think there's a misreading and I think it's your and my generation, about how relevant and popular Australia Day is. I've got 3 kids in their early 20s, and I've watched them pretty much from the time they've left school, and all of their friends are out there pre-Australia Day buying their Australian thongs, their shorts, their T-shirts, their floppy hats, their Australian lilos for the pool, and they're all gathering with friends and spending an afternoon having a barbecue. I really do think it's an extremely popular and significant day amongst that next generation. And I think people that are in business making these calls, I think there's definitely a disconnect with the popularity that sits underneath in the generation following behind.
I think you're right. They used to love the Hottest 100 being played on that day too, but the ABC and Triple J have ruined that for them. There has been an update on this late today. It looks like Australian Venues Company has got the message from their customers, because they've put out a statement which amounts to an apology. They say, our purpose is to reinforce community in our venues, not divide it. We apologise for our comments. It certainly wasn't our intention to offend anyone. Whether you choose to celebrate Australia Day or not, everyone is welcome in our pubs, always. We have been and are always open over Australia Day, and we continue to book events for our patrons. There you go, Craig. Common sense and the bottom line have won out.
Yeah, look, Chris, it was always, as I say, I believe that's the sensible position for all pubs throughout the country. I don't think it's smart to enter the political world, or as you called it, the woke world, or woke view of the political world. And I think it looks to me like sanity has prevailed, and I applaud them for putting their hand up and saying we didn't realise it'd get this reaction and changing tact. But as I say, if you want to change things, if you have a problem with the date and you want to change it and it requires an act of Parliament, put your hand up, run at the next election. If you want to give me a call, I'll give you what advice,
Spot on.
I've learned.
That's exactly what you did, Craig. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate it. Craig Laundy there from Laundy Hotels with a lot of common sense on this issue.